Welcome back to the show, everybody. You see the spot there for Deer Valley Golf Club. I think we all golfed there separately yesterday.
Yeah.
You went in the morning, I went, Clark went. So thank you, Deer Valley. We had a blast. I don't care about the wind. Everybody talked about the wind. It's better than rain. Way better than
warm.
rain. Let's go out on video chat now as we continue to talk about the TJ Jones situation. We got Justin Dunk with us from 3downnation.com. JD, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, guys. What about you?
We're doing good. I'm glad to open up a new week talking football despite day 16 of the training camp postponement. And we're kind of sinking our teeth into the TJ Jones situation. I'm sure you are too. What do you think about the latest developments?
Well, guys, I go back to actually a piece that I had a while back that included Julian Edelman, and TJ Jones was in a group of free agents that the competition committee in the CFL had deemed just that, free agents. They were Canadians that, for whatever reason, were missed in the draft process. So at that time, if they were deemed free agents, I'm with what most people are saying, that if Jones is coming to the league, he should be able to go to the highest bidder. If the Toronto Argonauts want to pay him $200,000, all the power to it. Let's get this kid in the CFL, and it fits under the rules.
Is it important to play out or to point out that the Players Association is the ones that vetoed the contract with the Argos?
I do think it is key because you get a sense of where the new CBA has gone instead of the old CBA, because that's when that decision was made with that group of nationals. As I said, that could potentially include Julian Edelman. But for these purposes, let's focus on TJ Jones, that he was going to sign that contract with the Argos in February and be ready to come up to the CFL for $200,000. And you talk about a guy that's almost made $4 million in the NFL. He doesn't just have to come up here and play for peanuts. He could move on and do something else in his life if he doesn't get another NFL opportunity, which is definitely possible. So I think it's worth pointing out that the PA has shifted their change here, and the key being that rookie pay scale that has been implemented. I believe that's what the PA is looking at and saying, well, he fits under this new rule. We don't really want to treat him differently than the other players, although I really feel like he should be. He was deemed a free agent. He didn't go through the draft process, and he would not qualify as a rookie in the CFL. 3 strikes, that means he should be a free agent.
Right, and so I was going to ask you where you stand on this. If you were voting in the poll, you think he should be exempt from the rookie Canadian cap. Have I read that right?
Definitely. You got it.
Yeah, I talked to his representation over the weekend, and they said he will never play in the CFL as long as this remains the case. Now, having said that, I mean, I guess it would have to be the Argos that would apply. You could make a special exemption case. You got special exceptional status for the hockey fans out here. Connor Bedard has it in the WHL. Connor McDavid had it in the OHL. Like, have we heard the last of this, do you think now it's put to bed? Because that's the sense that I got from his representation, that it's going to be NFL or nothing. Or would the Argos make a fuss about it and, I guess, appeal this decision?
I think one of the things you can look at in terms of precedent, maybe going the other way, is Chris Williams back when he wanted to get out of his contract and go to the NFL. That if TJ Jones filed a grievance here, and he has the case, because as I said, it was ruled by the CFL competition committee at the time that he should be a free agent. I mean, you're sort of going against the union there in a sense, but I really believe that that's another option that they could take. Jones does have the ability to wait out an NFL shot, so I don't think it's the last we've heard of it, because the CFL should want to get him in the league, and Jones, clearly wants to play in the CFL just for what he feels he's worth.
That's the thing. I mean, the union's there to protect the players. In this instance, it's doing not what's best for the CFL or one in particular player. But anyways, we'll move on from that. What else are you working on at 3 Down these days?
So, guys, I've been getting a lot of questions about Derrick Moncrief, and obviously you guys know well, everyone in Ryderville is interested in his potential next move. Well, we know that he got released from the Las Vegas Raiders, but he had a number of workouts leading up to that signing initially in December, and I believe even a couple in January. So the latest I've heard on Moncrief is that he's patiently waiting, and it looks likely that he'll actually have some more NFL workouts coming up and could potentially sign a contract before training camp. So he's going going to take the patient approach in terms of getting a legitimate NFL shot, which a lot of people know he deserves. And, Chris Jones is in the NFL in Cleveland. I wonder if he's pushing for him there to potentially become a Brown, because he knows the versatility that he can bring, and really his credentials prove that he deserves an NFL shot.
I'm actually glad to hear you say that, because I was wondering where he might land in the CFL. But just given the season that he had, he's been great ever since he came into the CFL. But this last year, Justin, he was lights out. I mean, he was at another level.
Yeah, he certainly was at that same linebacker position. And you look at what they're doing in the NFL in terms of coverage, and a guy that's versatile enough as a linebacker to be able to drop back, get after the passer, stuff the run. He's a guy that can do that for you. So I think that is going to elicit some NFL interest, and that's why we haven't seen him make a move necessarily back north of the border, let's say like Dion Lacey, because he's saying, hey, I've fielded some calls, got some interest about some potential workouts. Obviously, COVID-19 is preventing that a little bit right now. So when it's cleared and those can potentially happen, I would expect at minimum him to get a peek in terms of an up-close look from personnel man, and we'll see if he signs a contract. I do think it's possible.
Look up for a second, Darren. I got to read some comments here. I'll pause this for a second, JD, from our viewers. From Maggie. Oh, why? Hello. The guests on this show just get more and more good-looking. So there's that. I just wanted to see Justin.
I'll take it.
You didn't actually turn red there. I thought you would. I wanted to see his wreck. Secondly, is somebody mowing their lawn outside your window, or is there a plane circling? What's going on outside the residence there?
Yeah, my bad. Actually, just down in the condo building here, they're blowing the leaves and cutting the grass and stuff. So it smells like summer in TO.
I'm good.
The authorities making sure he doesn't.
I don't have a problem with it. Is there a chopper circling, a 3-down chopper waiting to pick you up to take you wherever you go? And everybody is happy to see the chandelier back, by the way, in the background, so you can tell that Justin is back and is in regular environs. Moving on, Justin, I've often said this many times. I hate when sports intersects with news, whether it was the Humboldt Broncos crash, this now the pandemic, race riots in the United States. I got to think you feel the same way. I mean, you'd obviously rather be talking about football right now, but you were digging pretty deep, and you seem to have a personal connection, too, to what was going on in the States on the weekend. Can you talk about that from a 3-down perspective?
That's right. It really does seem like at these times, even though some people want to say stick to sports, Roddy, I really take it personally in the sense of we have a platform that we can create change. And as much as, yes, we want to talk about sports and focus on it, that if we can provide some little bit of betterment in society in the way that we're treating people, I think that duty is on us. And I was fortunate enough to be able to share Solomon Elamimian's personal story. First, he wanted to put it out there on 3Down Nation so the masses can see it and try to affect change in a positive way. He's encouraging all of the union membership to use their social media platforms and speak out to have change. And one of the quotes that's really hit home for me is that people seem to be tired of reading about racism. Well, imagine actually having to deal with it in your daily lives. And even people that I work with, at CHCH, we've been having some conversations about it and going back and forth. And then going back to my playing days, I didn't see color. And I think you guys are the same way. We had guys in our huddle that were from all different kinds of races. One of my best receivers and best friends still at the time was Dave McCoy, a former Riders draft pick, and he's black, but that never mattered to me. But it doesn't mean that it's not an issue that needs to be addressed. And the other quote that stuck out to me as well was, if it's tough to talk about racism, then potentially it's an issue for you. I don't think it should be a difficult conversation. It should be open and honest and inclusive. All together, we're stronger.
David McCoy, member of the 2007 Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders. There's an answer to a trivia question right there. And I'm with you on the race thing. I have no problem talking about it. 20 years in the CFL, working daily with these guys. They've told me their stories. I get it. And that's why I said on the weekend, what can I do for you guys? And they said, just show that you're with us. I'm like, That's not that hard, and for me to do, or for anybody to do. Which brings me to the CFL statement. I think they were right along the timeline. You may know better than me that when the NFL made their statement, I mean, it didn't look good Saturday when there were players calling out the CFL for that. Stephen A. Smith said this morning on ESPN's Get Up, silence is compliance. So that's how they feel. I was glad the CFL did step up. What was your thoughts on how that all played out?
Yeah, the timing to me, I really want to see the CFL try to be more of a leader here. And Randy Ambrosie talks about it a lot. The NFL came out on Saturday night with a statement, I believe it was right at 6 o'clock from Roger Goodell, which a lot of people laughed at because you consider what's happened with Colin Kaepernick. And on that note, guys, Colin Kaepernick has been on multiple CFL negotiation lists. He would be welcome in this league. So we got to give the CFL at least credit for that. Then Solomon Elimimian comes out with his personal story and encouragement on Sunday morning. And then Sunday afternoon, we have this statement from the CFL and the commissioner, Randy Ambrosie. It should be worth noting, though, that there's been nothing on the CFL.ca website in terms of a more fulsome statement from Ambrosie or from the CFL. So I would imagine something's going on behind the scenes to give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. But when these types of things happen, I think we should be reacting quicker and not just looking to the NFL and comparing us to them. Let's be the leaders that Ambrosie wants the CFL to be.
Jason in Red Deer's watching. He says, okay, dumb question. Did Justin play in the CFL? Hey, 5-year starter at Guelph. And I got a friend that graduated Wilfrid Laurier. He hates you, Justin. He said that you used to come in and just dice them. Dice them. Were you their kryptonite?
Well, I don't know about that. I'll let your friend speak for me there. But yes, you're right. I did play 5 years at the University of Guelph, had a solid career because I was surrounded by guys like Dave McCoy and Jeff Keegan, who was another receiver that got a shot with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And then at the end of it, I remember I was at a bit of a crossroads in my career. After the first year, I had started a number of games, and our trainer, Chris Mumford, who actually played in the CFL himself and now is out in California training guys like Brandon Cooks, who loved his training so much that at the time he brought the entire Saints receiving corps. So Mumps, our former trainer, said, look, I'm going to tell you flat out right now, you have a better shot to make the CFL as a defensive back or a receiver. So you can switch to that position, or you can stay a quarterback because I know we need one for the program and try to grow from there. Me being the hometown boy and wanting to play quarterback, that's what I did. So fast forward to 5 years later, I remember being at the Combine. My one and only meeting with the team actually was the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Brandon Taman was in there, and Craig Smith was there too. And I really kind of thought that I was going to get a shot as a receiver, but all things work out. I still get to stick close to the league now and be close to football. But I'll let your buddy speak for those Waterloo days.
Well, by the way, it's not personal. But he went to all those games, and he just said that they couldn't stop you. That's all. It was Nugsy, by the way. Jamie Neugebauer, who writes for me on the SJHL column. Anyways, serious talk for a second. Return to play, Justin. Where are we at?
So the latest that I've heard, guys, is actually a bit of a positive, dare I say. So the league has looked at, multiple scenarios, and it seems, I don't want to say all but certain, let's say likely, that if the players in the league, and I think that's the key issue here that has to be crossed off first, if they can come to agreement on a COVID CBA, let's say, then I really do think we could see CFL football being played potentially in September, and it would probably be under the hub city model. It seems the likelihood the East would be in Winnipeg, the West would be in Regina, and you would go ahead from there. But the league hasn't got to those further planning stages with whatever direction they're going to end up going here, because they want to have assurances that there's already agreement with the players so they can calculate the finances, right? Obviously, you're going to have to pay the players if games are played. So that's the big sticking point that I'm hearing right now is, can those sides come to an agreement so that the league can then say, go ahead and plan where they're going to stay, how they're going to ensure the safety and health of the players and staff that are going to be in these hub cities.
Great update, my friend. I appreciate it. We'll continue to follow 3 Down for all the latest developments. I appreciate the support of us. You get it back, of course, and stay safe out there.
You bet, guys. You too. Love the Rod Pedersen Show, Roddy. And I noticed it was the 1-year anniversary over the weekend. So happy anniversary and keep going strong, my brother.
Thank you, man. Glad to have you on the team.
You bet.
Justin Dunk joining us from Southern Ontario. I think so the news conference was on the weekend. The 1-year anniversary of the introductory news conference. June 3rd is the 1-year anniversary of our first show, right?
Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah.
My wife said, oh, you got something big planned? I said, I have no idea. That's all on Darren. So
what are we going to do? We can't have anybody in here.
Can't have anybody in here. So it's just another day. That's how I am on most things.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.